Grab a cup of tea or listen as you go, ladies. This is your hour with Dr. Zoe, your life and relationship coach. With encouragement, on-point insight, inspiring guests, health tips, and advice, Dr. Zoe helps busy women keep their mind in the game by redefining your superwoman. You're listening to The Dr. Zoe Show.
Welcome to the Dr. Zoe Show, Redefining Your Superwoman. I'm your host, Dr. Zoe. I'm a licensed psychotherapist with a doctorate in clinical psychology. I'm a life and relationship coach and a motivational speaker, and I can work with you virtually to help you get unstuck. My passion is helping women find their superpower, find the strength that they didn't even know they had, learn to embrace it and share it with the world. You can connect with me by texting the word join to 38470 or go to my website at drzoeshaw.com. The topic today is part 2 of Baby Mama Drama, when you are the baby mama, which I'm going to explain to you. I hate that word, but basically when you have kids and you have an ex and you're dealing with your ex's partner, no fun, drama sometimes. We're going to talk about it. So first, my superwoman win. I hope that you women can totally relate to this, because my win is that my eyebrows, my lips, my legs, my bikini area are all waxed at the same time. My nails and my toenails are painted. That's like, how many did I count? 5, 6 items of maintenance that are all complete and on point today. I'm feeling pretty good. And then at the same time, I'm kind of like, I'm a little weary just thinking of all the maintenance that I choose to do on my life as a woman, or not really my life, on my body. But anyway, I also feel good. It's all good. It's on point. And I recognize that next week, this time, it could be all jacked up. But today I've got it all done. And on top of that, it's winter. And some of those things didn't even need to be taken care of. So there you go. My fail. My fail today is, it's really not my fail. It's a societal fail that it's really been bothering me since I heard this. So I have a client who's a teenager. We were talking about something I don't even remember, but we were talking about eating together as a family, which I think I probably figured out didn't happen in her family. And I was asking her about that. And she looked at me and she said, "Isn't that like a 1990s thing? People don't do that anymore." And it just crushed me to hear that in her experience, not just with her own family, but with her friends' families, she felt that that was an antiquated idea that families should eat together. And it broke my heart. So, of course, I'm thinking back to research. And number one, I know that's not antiquated. I said that word well the first time. It's not an old-fashioned thing. It's not an old-fashioned thing. People do it, and we should, because research has shown that families, you've even heard the sayings, families that eat together, stay together, families that pray together, stay together. The reality is that daily connection, it doesn't have to be long. I don't care if you buy McDonald's and come home and sit together and talk and look at your people face to face, because I know with my family, my kids are always on their electronic devices. Most families are, we're kind of all easily separated, but at least once a day, we should come together and connect and look at each other in our faces and talk to each other and connect and share at our family table. And we only have dinner all together 6 nights a week, because I work on Wednesdays and I work late, and the family has dinner, but not with me. But the other nights of the week, I say, please aim for 5 nights a week where you and your family are sitting together and looking at each other. And one of the things that we do is we ask each other, sometimes it's called rose and thorn, or good or bad, something where each person has to share. So that's just a societal fail that's been bugging me, because families need to connect. I guess that's all I'll say about that today. So on to the topic, when you are the baby mama. And this might be something that you want to share with a friend. If you have a friend who's dealing with an ex right now and her ex's new partner, if you're in this situation, you have a family member, I am sure that if you are in this situation, the day you gave birth to your beautiful baby or your beautiful babies, you never imagined that this would be you. We all know that term baby mama. I've said before, I don't like it. It shouldn't be used. I'll talk about that more. But no one purposefully becomes one. It is the reality in our modern world, and it's hard to get away from the drama of it all. Blended family, his house, your house, step parents, step kids, all the labels we all know and throw around so, easily. And as now his ex, you might have been characterized as evil, money hungry, manipulative, jealous, and you probably feel hurt, misunderstood, deceived. I'm sure you're angry, maybe bitter. After all, of course, when you guys were starting a family, you were none of those things, right? He was singing your praises. And now all you're doing is trying to take care of your family. You're trying to be a mom to your kids and maintain some type of parental relationship with him, and everybody's demonizing you. It's interesting because when I did a Google search for baby mama drama, almost all of the advice was about how to deal with your partner's evil baby mama or woman, mother of his children. And that's totally not fair. The drama goes both ways, right? I've certainly experienced that. And just because she's his new woman doesn't mean that she has a perfect agenda either. You've got to deal with her too. And dealing with his current woman, I'm sure among all the other millions of things that you have to do in your life, it's the last thing that you want to have to worry about. You've got a million balls you're juggling. You might be a single mama. You might be remarried. But the reality is that she's there and you have to deal with her. And in a perfect world, of course, families blend. Exes and currents all get along and everybody is a united front in their parenting. But sometimes that's just a fantasy because the world isn't perfect and we aren't perfect as humans. And you're probably listening to this because your world isn't perfect either. And most people, I say most because there are some, but most people don't choose a drama-filled, dysfunctional life. But this whole blended family thing can sometimes make you feel like a crazy person. So first, I'm going to talk about that term. I absolutely hate the term baby mama, and so should you, because you deserve to be described with words that don't have such negative connotations. Do not accept those labels as your own. You're better than that. Correct people if they describe you in this way because the term itself has become a derogatory one. Now, I know it's easy. I put it in my title. It's what everybody kind of knows. Yes, it may take a few more syllables to say the mother of his children, but take the time to say those syllables because it's worth it. You're the mother of his children or child, and you deserve to be recognized as the whole person that you are, not just delegated to a term that's associated with a description that doesn't apply to you. So how do you deal with your ex and his new situation? Here's some tips for kicking the drama out of your life. Number 1, do not communicate with your ex's new wife or girlfriend through him. It's so easy to just tell him, can you tell her this? Or can you make sure that she knows this? This is called triangulation, and it's never a part of a healthy relationship. You've got to be the bigger person and you've got to reach out to her. Now, I know everyone's going to tell me, you don't understand my situation. You don't understand how horrible she is. I can't talk to her. Reality. So many issues can be solved by just going directly to her. Remember, I'm not asking you to be her friend. I'm not asking you to be her confidant, her bestie. Just simply talk to her. Because your ex doesn't need to be, and he shouldn't be the mediator or referee between the two of you. Do you remember when you were young and used to play that telephone game where you would whisper into the ear of somebody and then they would whisper into somebody else's ear and then somebody else would whisper into their ear? And by the time the last person spoke whatever the initial person said, it was totally different and it was hilarious. But that's the reality of communication. If you tell him to tell her something, he's going to hear it through his lens, translate it to her through his lens, and then she's going to hear it through her lens. And it will already, even just with one person in between, be messed up and not necessarily interpreted correctly. And on top of that, you are just increasing the distance. And then you are tugging on him and she's on the other side tugging on him. And it's unhealthy. So don't let the messages get distorted. It's better to not speak to her at all than to speak to her through him. You either tell him nothing or go ahead and speak directly to this woman. Number 2, no matter how angry you get, do not argue in front of your children. I know this is a tough one. As a mama myself, things get heated, you get upset, and it's hard to not argue in front of your children. But if he or she begins to escalate things, get some distance and refuse to participate. Your children are way, way, way too precious to damage them with negative residue of your relationship or relationships. One person cannot argue by themselves. If you say nothing, no argument will happen. They might be talking, but then they just look crazy and you let them do that all by themselves. Number 3, be willing to see her through an understanding lens. I'm going to say that again. Be willing to see her through an understanding lens. Are you her best friend? No. Are you her family member? Absolutely not. Do you even have to like her? Nope. But it's really easy to demonize her. It's super easy to be angry at her. But the truth is, she didn't break up your relationship. His choices, at least in part, led to the breakup of your relationship. If they weren't together, more than likely, he would be with someone else, not you. She's a woman just like you are, and maybe you would handle things differently than she's handling with your children. You would do life differently than she is, but she's not you. And so she's going to make different choices. And I know that's a tough pill to swallow. I get that. But sometimes we got to swallow those tough pills to have a healthier life. There's that saying, if I can say it right, if you do the hard things, your life will be easy. If you do the easy thing, your life will be hard. That's a pretty profound statement. So I know some of what I'm asking you to do is hard, but it will actually create an easier experience. It's easy to just get in drama. It's easy to get upset. It's easy to go back and forth and put him in between, put your children in between. Decide she can't see him, he can't see them. That's easy. That actually makes your and your kids' life hard. And by the way, you have to realize that she's probably not getting the full story on you. She's getting the abridged version where you are the villain. Much of the way that she's relating to you is about the one-sided way that she's seeing you. And vice versa. You're not getting the whole story on her either. You're getting the abridged version. So be willing to try to see her through an understanding lens. Number 4, move on. The reality is that some men enjoy the feeling they have when 2 women are into them and even fighting for their attention. So remember that little thing I just said about the telephone game? Yeah, if you have a man, which sometimes happens, that enjoys this whole thing, that gets something from having 2 women fighting over his attention, believe me, whatever you say to him is going to be distorted when he gives it to her. So that's one of the reasons why you got to stop that. But some men actually do. And so they might even do some things on a conscious or subconscious level that encourages the drama. Don't be a party to that. Disengage from drama whenever you see it. Do not allow him to complain about her. Do not allow him to talk to you about her. There's no reason for that. Number 5, make friends with your jealousy. Man, I'm asking you to do some hard stuff. Jealousy is a normal, understandable emotion. It's a feeling just like all the other ones. So you got to acknowledge it. It's okay that maybe you want an intact family or that you may wish at times that the 2 of you were still together. That's okay and that's normal, but you've got to own that. You've got to own it because if not, it will own you. Also realize that in that much of what you think they have is just a fantasy in your mind. You don't see them behind closed doors. You're not privy to their relationship issues, which of course all relationships have. So you got to stop that fantasy and you have to work on owning up to it, that it's okay. But then you also have to work on appreciating what you have in your life and what you're building. Because yes, jealousy is normal, but it must be fleeting because jealousy is also a killer of happiness. And happiness is a choice. When you examine your life, you'll see that you have so much to be thankful for. There are people that would die to have the life that you have, that you live, that sometimes you don't appreciate. Number 6, your feelings matter. Yes, your feelings matter, but they don't matter to her. They do not matter to her. So you've got to work on your expectations when it comes to your relationship with her. Remember, she's probably got her own issues and jealousy when it comes to you. You can't expect her to be any type of way initially. You've got to expect her to be exactly what she's shown you to be over time. And this is actually the crux of all relationship issues, is that we expect people to be who they haven't shown us to be. We expect them to be who we want them to be. That's dumb. That is the definition of craziness, right? Doing the same thing and expecting a different outcome. Come on. If she's proven herself to be petty, immature, and dramatic, then you've got to expect her to continue to be that way. She probably won't disappoint you, but you've got to choose to react in an opposite way, and less drama will happen. You've got to recognize that your feelings matter, and it doesn't matter that they don't matter to her. They do matter. 7, love yourself. So things didn't work out with him, and now you've got to deal with him, and you've got to possibly deal with this woman for the rest of your life. You're still lovable, and you're still deserving of love. Love yourself. Work on yourself. Be open to love from others. You and your kids are going to be just fine. Now, I know when you're the mother of his children and you're no longer with him, it's hard to get away from that drama, especially when he's got a new woman. But remember, it does take two, and you can step gracefully off that stage of drama by just doing a couple of the things that I just talked about. If you're still struggling with that, reach out. I would love to help you. Next up, this is Real Talk, where I answer questions from my listeners and I share my own musings and encouragement. Please reach out if you have some questions you'd like me to address on the show. All questions are anonymous. I take your confidentiality seriously as if you were my own client. You can email questions to Zoe at drzoeshaw.com or connect with me on any of my social medias. This next question came from an email. How do you deal with a friend with a mental illness? I have a friend with anxiety who really grinds my gears. At this point, I just want to walk away from the friendship. It just takes too much work, too much biting of my tongue, and I'm just not willing to commit to it. Not at this point in my life. Help. Okay, so that's super tough to have a friend with a mental illness, and maybe she's always had it, but probably more than likely it's gotten worse, or maybe it's just recently developed. When I talk about friendships, I always talk about circles. So actually, when I talk about all of your social networks, I talk about circles, and you should kind of visualize that. So in your inner circle, which I'm making a circle with my thumb and my forefinger, it's small. And in that circle, those are your people. Those are your ride or dies. Those are your BFFs, your close family members who get you and you get them. Then you have the next level. Those are your friends. Those are people you would invite over to your house. Those are people that you do things with, you socialize with, you break bread, maybe even vacation with, but they are not your inner BFFs, but they're still your friends. And then the next layer would be your acquaintances. Those are people that you know. Those are people that you know professionally. Those are people that you like and, maybe you connect with on some level, but you probably don't invite them to your house, probably don't vacation with them. They're your acquaintances. And then you've got maybe that outer realm, which is just people that you know peripherally. So with this woman, it sounds like she's draining you. When you look at that inner circle has to have relationships that are based on reciprocity. If they are not, if one person is overgiving to those relationships because they are very close emotional relationships, then what we have is codependence. There's nothing healthy with that. That's dysfunction. And so if this is a woman who was close to you in that inner circle, and now it sounds like she's draining you. And sometimes reality is in relationships, sometimes we're giving more than others. That's just the reality. I mean, my BFF, you know what? She goes through a tough season in her life. I'm there. I'm there for her. But I also know that when I'm going through a tough season, she's going to be right there for me. And if that's not what's going on in this relationship, I get that this woman has mental illness, but she needs to get professional help, not utilize her for that support. So it might be time to designate her to the next layer. And you do that not by calling her up and going, hey, guess what? You're no longer my friend. I need to designate you to an outer layer. Your mental illness is too much for me to deal with. Of course, you're not going to do that. But what you are going to do is you are going to stop responding to her as much. Offer her maybe the skills and tips you do know to help her with her mental illness. You're going to suggest that she see a therapist, and you are really going to start distancing yourself in a healthy way. It might feel bad. I can understand some of the guilt that comes with that, but your self-care needs to be more important than the guilt that you are feeling about that relationship. Not all relationships are meant to last forever. We have, we're blessed with those few people that we can do life with. And then the rest of the people in our lives, they come and they go. And that's just a reality. I hope that was helpful. So thanks for tuning in to the Dr. Zoe Show. New shows go up on Tuesdays. Subscribe so you don't miss a show. If you're interested in coaching or therapy, or you just want to get a little more help, go to my website at drzoeshaw.com or any of my social medias at the handle Dr. Zoe Shaw. Join my free newsletter by texting the word join to 38470. And I look forward to speaking with you wonderful ladies on social media throughout the week. Have a super week.
You've been listening to The Dr. Zoe Show, redefining your superwoman, with your host, Dr. Zoe Shaw. Don't forget to sign up for her monthly newsletters to get encouragement, tips, and skills for keeping your mind in the superwoman game. Connect with her now at www.drzoeshaw.com. Tell your friends and subscribe to her podcast on iTunes. Join us next time for another edition of The Dr. Zoe Show.